Now, for those of you who may know, and for those of you who may not know, yesterday morning, I should say, we had a Pokemon Presents by the Pokemon Company. And in said Pokemon Presents, we got a pretty decent announcement. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Generation 9 of the Pokemon series. Now, of course, like always, there's always a bit of a complaint. So here today, I'd like to share my thoughts on Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, Violet. I don't know the order they go. I think it's Scarlet and Violet, right? Anyway, so Scarlet and Violet got announced, and a lot of people, might I add, all of the Pokemon fans decided to make a few complaints here and there about why this was a terrible idea. Now, some are arguing that it's just too soon. Others are just saying, this is just shit. I don't like this. This is stupid. And others are saying, wow, that windmill is going 15 frames a second. Me personally, though, I don't give a shit about how good the game looks. As long as it's playable, it's fine in my book. If the story's good, yeah. If the gameplay is fucking buttery smooth, I'll take it. The graphics, I really don't give a shit. Now, I say this with a grain of salt, mainly because when BDSP first got announced and we all saw the trailer for that, I didn't like the art style as much at first, but when I got the game, I thought, wow, this is a pretty good art style. It certainly follows the true to the bone, gameplay of Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. At the end of the day, when you look at this new title, you think, wow, even though Legends Arceus looks like a pile of dog shit in terms of graphics, you have to admit, it looks better. Now, keep in mind, the release date is late 2022, so we're probably not even going to get this title until December at the latest. Now, one of the main points I'd like to address here is the timing. Why so soon? You're gonna overhype a game and take away the spotlight from BDSP and Legends Arceus. And now let me explain to you how that I don't think that's the case. For one, there are so many other franchises out there that do the exact same thing. I mean, take a look at Activision and what they do to Call of Duty. They pretty much release a new Call of Duty almost every year. I mean, it's a first-person shooter with the exact same premise. Killing other players, killing other NPCs, killing your enemies in the game with a firearm. Okay? Now, you tell me how much those fans are complaining that, this is the same game, why am I paying $60 for a game that's you don't hear that, because quite frankly, every time it's released, there's always something different. Now, the same can be said for Pokemon. They've decided to announce Gen 9 a year, a couple months after Legends Arceus and BDSP. Now, why do I think it's okay? Let me explain to you something. It's going to take roughly 10 months for that game to release. Roughly, give or take, depending on whether or not it releases in November, and assuming that there are no delays. In between that time, so many people are going to have to have bought BDSP or Legends Arceus that they've already beaten it. I mean, you're telling me that you're going to spend 10 months on a single game that only has 5 sections in it? I mean, Legends Arceus has 5 total sections in it. You have 5 of the wardens that you have to deal with. And those aren't even that difficult. The battle system is janky as fuck because, Pokemon are a lot more powerful than they seem, which is good, I'd say, because it raises the difficulty. But at the same time, it's not going to take you 10 months to beat a game with 5 sections in it. These sections aren't even huge. This isn't even a fully fledged open world game. This is more Monster Hunter than it is, a Breath of the Wild type of game. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, but Prez, why are you comparing a AAA title to a Pokemon game? Now, the reason I make this comparison is because if you look at the release, dates of each game in each generation, let's take a look at this list here. Pokemon Red and Green, guess what year that came out in? 1996. Pokemon Red and Blue here in the West, 1998. Pokemon Yellow, 1999, a year later. Gold and Silver, Gen 2, from Gen 1 to Gen 2, 2-year difference, because that came out in 2000. Oh, guess what? Ruby and Sapphire, another 2-year difference. That released in 2002. Guess what came out before that? Pokemon Crystal. Oh, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl released in 2007. Guess what came out 2 years beforehand? Pokemon Emerald. Pokemon Black and White. Guess what year that came out in? 2011. What came before that? Heart Gold and Soul Silver 1 year before that. Pokemon X and Y, 2013. Guess what came out before that? Black 2, White 2 in 2012. Sun and Moon, 2016. What came before that? Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, 2014. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out in 2014. 2 years before Sun and Moon, Gen 7 came out. What came after that? 1 year later, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which came out in 2017. A year after Sun and Moon, the vanilla versions came out. Oh, would you look at that? Sword and Shield to be released in 2019. 2 years after the last Gen 8 game came out. Now, you're going to come over here and tell me that their timing is like horrible? Well, I agree with you to an extent. The timing is pretty dog shit considering 2 games came out a couple months beforehand. But Scarlet and Violet were bound to be announced. They were literally bound to be announced. Look at the pattern. Gen 1 to Gen 2 is literally 2 years in the West. Gen 2 to Gen 3, 2 years. Gen 3 to Gen 4, given that the last Gen 3 game was released in 2005, came out in 2007, that's another 2-year difference. Heart Gold and Soul Silver was the last Gen 4 game. Guess what got announced right after that? Gen 4, a year later. You can't make this shit up. You can't complain that, the timing is horrible. Sure, the game might need more time, but, come on now. It's already been, more than 2 years since the last release. So, another argument I'd like to address about this whole Pokemon Gen 9 thing is the graphics. Now, I'm not saying that, they're being a bit too lazy with their graphics. I mean, they can be, but at the same time, think about it like this. You can't blame them for it. The Switch is not that good in terms of processing graphics. It's a very weak console. Yeah, you can make the argument, but Smash Ultimate looks really good because Smash Ultimate uses another engine entirely. Okay? Pokemon Legends Arceus looks so dog shit because Nintendo Switch can't handle better graphics than that. Okay, sure, they're implementing these new little plugins that'll make the graphics look a bit better by upscaling them without using any more processing power. But at the end of the day, the Switch is so weak that it can't really handle it. Take for instance why Kingdom Hearts decided to release as a cloud version instead of an actual fully fledged, you can play this without an internet connection kind of game. Because Kingdom Hearts graphics engine is so damn powerful that the Switch can't even handle it on its own. That's why it's all cloud based now with Kingdom Hearts' port. Take for instance as well Persona 5 Strikers. That came out on Switch by a fucking miracle. Now let me tell you, if you boot up Persona 5 Strikers and compare it to the PS4 version, that shit will take a while to load. The PS4 loads decently well. Fucking PS5 loads instantly. The Switch loads, it takes about a minute for the game to load up properly. So you can't really blame the developers for not, taking the time to make these games look super fucking magnificent. Okay? Because the Switch has limitations too. Now, why do I say that? Because Legends Arceus its graphics, it's pretty common knowledge that their graphics is pretty fucking terrible. Now, I'd like to see this game as an experimental type of game, much like how the Wii U was an experiment console for the Switch, and how that ultimately came to be. I think Legends Arceus was a bit of a trial version in terms of, transitioning the Pokemon games from this closed-off environment into an open world. Now, we kind of just saw that case with Pokemon Sword and Shield, where they introduced the wild area, which was Zeric's use of a slightly open world-ish kind of landscape. Now, was the wild area good? No. Were the graphics as good as as everyone thought they would be? Not exactly. Pokemon Legends Arceus kind of just, took the wild area aspect of Sword and Shield and made it graphically less good. Now, because the wild area, for me personally, I've seen more fog than there has been any, good looking landscape. Now, what can you really take away from what I just told you? Well, really, the reality of the situation here, ladies and gentlemen, it's that you're expecting AAA graphics for a title that's released exclusively to a console that can't even handle it. Okay? You can make all the arguments you want saying that, but Splatoon 3 is supposed to look so fucking good. Splatoon 2 it looks magnanimous. But the polygons are sticking out. Why do you think the polygons are sticking out? Because the Switch can't handle those kinds of detailed graphics. I saw in one comment of a video from my friend Paragon of Torno, which I highly respect, and he has his own opinion. If you want to go see his video and what he thought about the new generation of Pokemon, I think he went pretty in depth and he has a good argument. So I respect him. He's like a brother to me. I respect his opinion. I respect his thoughts. All of that. But in the comment section of his video, someone said that, how come we can't have as detailed graphics as we did Pokemon Battle Revolution? Now, the reason being is because, one, Pokemon Battle Revolution used a completely different engine than Pokemon Legends Arceus does, and two, because they're working with models that have already been rendered through the 3DS. Now, if you didn't notice by now, a lot of the models have been taken from 3DS titles. Take a look at some of them. Charizard in Sword and Shield looks exactly like Charizard from X and Y. Why is that? Because they ported the models over. It saves memory, it saves time, and it saves a lot of animation in programming. Now, what do I think about Game Freak and, the fact that they want to do all this for money? Now, while that may be the case for any developer, at the end of the day, they're doing all they can to make the game as good as they look. Take Legends Arceus, for instance. That game is a mainline prequel of Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. Was it good graphics-wise? Absolutely not. Was it good story-wise? Fucking yes. I like to think that Legends Arceus' story was pretty fucking good. Their gameplay? Fucking great. Battle system, I have a couple complaints, but aside from that, I think the gameplay is pretty good. Now, do the fans have pretty high expectations of them? I'd say so. At the end of the day, a lot of the Pokemon fans are just so damn toxic that, they're putting way too much pressure on the developers, which are already pretty overworked as it is. And I get that everyone wants a quality product, but at the end of the day, you're just not going to get it. You're just not going to get, a game that meets your expectations. For me, I don't give a shit about whether or not a fucking windmill is 15 frames a second, If the game runs, if the game is playable, I'm perfectly fine with that. Some people like to see, Cyberpunk, for instance, how that game came out to be really dog shit, and how it wasn't playable on many of the consoles. The game looks great graphics-wise, but was it playable? No. And that's the kind of thing I'd have an issue with if the game came out, if this Pokemon game came out, and it looked great, but it just wasn't playable. So let me pose this question to you, Pokemon fans. Would you rather, A, have a game that is so graphically, good looking, so powerful in terms of, good graphics, but the controls are so damn horrible and it doesn't play for shit? Or would you rather have a game that looks decent to, moderate, and, have buttery smooth gameplay? Did you have any input lag while playing Legends Arceus? I doubt it, because the Switch can actually handle this kind of power. Legends Arceus is not that much of a demanding game. Like, if you have the right PC for it, you can emulate it as as best as you can. Legends Arceus is not a very good game in terms of graphics, but aside from graphics aside, take a second to consider, the opportunity that Game Freak has to make a damn good story. They took what Diamond and Pearl had and they expanded on it with Legend Arceus, and that's what I think makes a Pokemon game really good. I don't give a shit if the graphics look terrible. I don't care if it's all foggy and shit. If the game plays, if I can press the A button and it reacts in an instant, I'm perfectly okay with it. But if the game looks really good, but you're sacrificing good gameplay, smooth controls and all that for good AAA graphics, it's not worth it in the end for me. And maybe that's something everyone should consider as well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say in today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Go give my boy Paragon of Torna all the love and support that he deserves. And I will see you all next time.